The Enigma of the Forgotten Queen. Chapter 1. The Scribe's Discovery. In the bustling city of Thebes, amidst the vibrant markets and towering temples, lived a humble scribe named Neferu. Unlike the warriors and priests who often claimed the spotlight in tales of old, Neferu was a man of ink and papyrus, his days spent recording the deeds of the pharaohs and the transactions of merchants. But Neferu harbored a secret passion for the mysteries of the past, often spending his evenings poring over ancient scrolls and dreaming of adventures. One sweltering afternoon, as the sun blazed high in the sky, Neferu was summoned to the temple of Ammonius by the high priest, Imhotep. The temple was a place of reverence and power, its walls adorned with hieroglyphs that told the stories of gods and kings. Neferu approached the temple with a sense of curiosity and trepidation, wondering what task could possibly require his skills. Imhotep greeted Neferu with a solemn nod, his eyes filled with a mysterious urgency. "Neferu," he began, "we have discovered something extraordinary, something that requires your expertise." The high priest led Neferu through the temple's labyrinthine corridors, past the grand halls and into a secluded chamber. The room was dimly lit, the air heavy with the scent of incense and ancient secrets. In the center of the chamber stood a stone altar, its surface covered in a layer of dust. Imhotep gestured to the altar. "We found this hidden behind a false wall," he explained. "It appears to be a map, but its meaning eludes us." Neferu's heart raced as he approached the altar. The map was unlike anything he had ever seen, its symbols intricate and unfamiliar. As he studied the map, he realized it was not just a guide to a location but a key to a mystery that had been lost to time. The map depicted a series of landmarks and cryptic symbols, leading to a place deep within the desert. But it was the final symbol that caught Neferu's attention, a depiction of the Eye of Wadjet, the ancient symbol of protection and power. The eye was said to guard the tomb of a forgotten queen, a ruler whose name had been erased from history. Neferu's mind raced with possibilities. The discovery of the map was a chance to uncover a piece of history that had been lost for millennia. But he also knew that such a quest would be fraught with danger, for the secrets of the past were often protected by powerful curses and dark magic. Imhotep watched Neferu closely, his expression unreadable. "What do you make of it?" he asked. Neferu took a deep breath, his resolve firming. "This is a map to the tomb of a forgotten queen," he said. "I believe it leads to a place of great power and danger. We must follow it." Imhotep nodded, his eyes filled with a mixture of admiration and concern. "Very well," he said. "But you will not go alone. I will send a small group of guards and scholars with you. The journey will be perilous, and you will need all the help you can get." With the map as his guide, Neferu assembled a team of trusted companions. There was Sennefer, a seasoned warrior with a sharp mind and a quick sword, Merit, a skilled linguist with a passion for deciphering ancient texts, and Khaemwaset, a young but brilliant scholar with a knack for solving puzzles. The team set out from Thebes, their hearts filled with a sense of purpose and anticipation. As they traveled deeper into the desert, the landscape transformed, the familiar sights of the city giving way to the vast, undulating dunes of the Sahara. As they journeyed, Neferu couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. The desert seemed to have a life of its own, the sands shifting and whispering as if sharing secrets with the wind. Merit, sensing his unease, explained that the desert was alive with stories and legends, passed down through generations. "The sands have eyes and ears," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "They speak to those who listen." Neferu nodded, his mind racing with possibilities. The desert was a place of mystery and danger, and he knew that their journey would test them in ways they had never imagined. As they followed the map, the team began to notice strange phenomena. The sand dunes seemed to form patterns, as if arranged by an unseen hand. Strange symbols appeared in the sand, glowing faintly in the sunlight. Khaemwaset studied the symbols, his eyes widening in recognition. "These are ancient hieroglyphs," he said. They're a warning. The hieroglyphs spoke of a curse, a warning to those who dared to seek the tomb of the forgotten queen. The curse promised a fate worse than death, eternal torment, madness, and the wrath of the gods. Neferu gathered his team, his expression resolute. "We knew this wouldn't be easy," he said. "The warning is clear, but so is our mission. We have a chance to uncover one of the greatest mysteries of ancient Egypt. Are you with me?" The team exchanged glances, their resolve firming. They had come too far to turn back now. "We're with you," Sennefer said, his voice filled with determination. With the sun setting on the horizon, the team pressed on, the whispering sands guiding them toward the heart of the desert, and the secrets that awaited them. Chapter 2: The Temple of Anubis. After days of arduous travel through the relentless desert, Neferu and his team finally arrived at the location marked on the map. The sun was setting, casting long shadows across the landscape and painting the sky in hues of orange and purple. Before them lay the ruins of an ancient temple, its once grand structure now reduced to a collection of crumbling stone pillars and weathered carvings. The temple was dedicated to Anubis, the jackal-headed god of mummification and the afterlife. It was a place shrouded in mystery and fear, said to be cursed by the gods themselves. Local legends spoke of those who had ventured into the temple and never returned, their souls trapped within its dark corridors. Neferu felt a chill run down his spine as he gazed upon the ruins. The air was thick with an unsettling energy, as if the very stones were alive with the whispers of the past. But he knew that the map had led them here for a reason, and he was determined to uncover the secrets that lay within. The entrance to the temple was marked by a massive stone archway, its surface covered in intricate hieroglyphs. The symbols were a warning, a curse that promised doom to any who dared to enter. But Neferu, driven by his insatiable curiosity and the promise of discovery, stepped forward to examine the carvings. "These hieroglyphs are unlike anything I've seen before," he said, his voice filled with awe and trepidation. "They're a puzzle, a riddle that guards the entrance." Merit, the team's linguist, joined him, her eyes scanning the symbols with keen interest. "They're a test," she said. "A trial of knowledge and wit." The team set to work, their expertise and teamwork shining through as they tackled the puzzle. Merit deciphered the hieroglyphs, while Khaemwaset provided insights into the cultural context, and Sennefer used his knowledge of ancient magic to sense any hidden dangers. As they worked, the hieroglyphs began to glow with a faint, ethereal light. The team realized that they were not just solving a puzzle, they were engaging in a trial of knowledge, a test of their understanding of the ancient world. The hieroglyphs revealed a story, a tale of Anubis and the journey of the soul through the afterlife. It spoke of the importance of balance and the consequences of defying the gods. The team had to interpret the story correctly, drawing on their knowledge of Egyptian mythology and history. After hours of intense work, they finally cracked the code. The hieroglyphs shifted and changed, the stone archway groaning as it slowly swung open to reveal a dark passageway beyond. The team entered the temple, the air inside cool and still. The passageway led them to a vast chamber, its ceiling soaring high above them. The walls were adorned with carvings and paintings, depicting scenes of the afterlife and the judgment of the soul. But there was something strange about the chamber. As they moved through it, their shadows seemed to take on a life of their own, twisting and contorting in the dim light. The team realized they were in the Hall of Shadows, a place where the boundaries between reality and illusion blurred. The Hall of Shadows was the second trial, a test of their perception and ability to distinguish between truth and deception. The shadows played tricks on their minds, creating illusions that seemed all too real. One moment, they were standing in a vast desert, the next, they were surrounded by a lush jungle. Neferu felt a sense of disorientation as he struggled to maintain his composure. "Stay focused," he urged his team. "Remember, it's all an illusion." The team pressed on, their minds sharp and their resolve unwavering. They moved slowly and deliberately, their movements careful and measured. The trial tested their discipline and concentration, but they emerged victorious, the Hall of Shadows behind them. The next chamber was the Chamber of Whispers, a room filled with strange, ethereal voices. The whispers spoke in a language that was both familiar and foreign, their words carrying a sense of ancient wisdom and power. Neferu listened intently, his mind racing to decipher the meaning behind the whispers. "They're guiding us," he said, his voice filled with awe. "The whispers are leading us to the next trial." The team followed the whispers, their path taking them deeper into the heart of the temple. The whispers grew louder and more insistent, guiding them through a series of corridors and chambers, each one more intricate than the last. The whispers led them to a massive stone door, its surface covered in carvings that glowed with a faint light. The door was the entrance to the final trial, the culmination of their journey through the temple. The team gathered before the door, their hearts pounding with anticipation and fear. They knew that the trial ahead would test them in ways they had never imagined, but they were ready to face whatever the temple threw at them. As they prepared to enter, the whispers grew louder, filling the air with a sense of urgency and purpose. The team took a deep breath, their resolve firm, and stepped through the door, ready to face the final challenge. Chapter 3: The Heart of Anubis. The massive stone door loomed before them, its surface covered in intricate carvings that glowed with an otherworldly light. The whispers that had guided them through the temple now filled the air with a sense of urgency, their voices rising to a crescendo as the team approached the door. Neferu took a deep breath, his heart pounding in his chest. He could feel the weight of history pressing down on him, the echoes of ancient rituals and prayers reverberating through the chamber. "This is it," he said, his voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. "The final trial." The team gathered around him, their faces set with determination. They had come too far to turn back now, and they were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As they stepped through the door, they were greeted by a sight that took their breath away. The chamber beyond was vast, its ceiling soaring high above them. In the center stood a massive statue of Anubis, the jackal-headed god of the afterlife, its eyes glowing with a fierce, golden light. The statue of Anubis was not just a monument, it was the heart of the trial. As the team approached, the ground trembled, and the statue began to move, its eyes fixing on them with an intense, unblinking gaze. A voice echoed through the chamber, deep and resonant, as if coming from the very walls themselves. "Who dares to seek the secrets of the forgotten queen?" the voice demanded. "What courage do you possess to face the trials of Anubis?" Neferu stepped forward, his voice clear and confident. "We are seekers of truth and knowledge," he said. "We come not to claim the secrets for ourselves, but to uncover the truth and honor the legacy of the forgotten queen." The statue of Anubis seemed to consider his words, its gaze unwavering. Then, with a mighty roar, it unleashed a torrent of sand and wind, a swirling vortex that threatened to engulf the team. The team braced themselves, their hearts pounding with fear and adrenaline. They had to prove their courage, not just in the face of danger, but in their unwavering resolve to complete their mission. Neferu shouted over the roar of the wind, "Hold your ground! We must not falter!" The team stood firm, their determination unwavering. As the storm raged around them, they focused on their goal, their minds and spirits united in purpose. As the storm subsided, the chamber was filled with a profound silence. The statue of Anubis stood motionless once more, its eyes now glowing with a softer, more benevolent light. A new voice echoed through the chamber, this one gentle and wise. "You have shown courage," the voice said. "But wisdom is the true test of worthiness." The team was presented with a series of riddles and puzzles, each one more complex than the last. The puzzles were designed to test their knowledge of Egyptian mythology, history, and culture, as well as their ability to think creatively and solve problems. Neferu and Merit worked together, drawing on their expertise to decipher the clues and unravel the mysteries. Khaemwaset provided insights into the cultural context, while Sennefer used his knowledge of ancient magic to sense any hidden patterns or solutions. The team tackled each challenge with determination and ingenuity, their minds working in harmony to overcome the obstacles. As they solved the final puzzle, the chamber was filled with a warm, golden light, and the voice of Anubis spoke once more. "You have shown wisdom," the voice said. "But the greatest test is yet to come. The secrets of the Forgotten Queen are not just a repository of power, they are a testament to her life and her reign. To uncover them, you must prove the purity of your heart." The team was faced with a vision, a glimpse into their own souls and the choices they had made. They saw their strengths and weaknesses, their triumphs and failures. The vision tested their integrity, their compassion, and their commitment to their mission. Neferu felt a deep sense of introspection as he confronted his own fears and doubts. He realized that the true power of the Forgotten Queen's secrets lay not in their magic, but in the values they represented: courage, wisdom, and the unwavering belief in the goodness of humanity. The team emerged from the vision, their spirits renewed and their resolve strengthened. They had faced their own demons and come out the other side, their hearts pure and their purpose clear. With the trials complete, the statue of Anubis began to glow with a radiant light. The chamber was filled with a profound silence, and then the voice of Anubis spoke once more. "You have proven yourselves worthy," it said. "The secrets of the Forgotten Queen are yours to uncover." The team watched in awe as the statue shifted, revealing a hidden passageway behind it. The passageway led to a chamber filled with ancient artifacts and treasures, the resting place of the Forgotten Queen. Chapter 4: The Queen's Resurrection. The hidden passageway led the team into a chamber that seemed untouched by time. The air was cool and still, the walls adorned with intricate carvings and paintings that depicted scenes from the life of the Forgotten Queen. Golden artifacts and treasures lay scattered across the room, their surfaces shimmering in the dim light. In the center of the chamber stood a magnificent sarcophagus, its surface covered in hieroglyphs and inlaid with precious stones. The sarcophagus was unlike any they had seen before, its craftsmanship exquisite and its presence commanding. Neferu approached the sarcophagus, his heart pounding with anticipation and reverence. He could feel the weight of history in the room, the echoes of a life once lived and a legacy forgotten. "This is it," he whispered, his voice filled with awe. "The resting place of the Forgotten Queen." As the team gathered around the sarcophagus, a strange energy began to fill the chamber. The hieroglyphs on the sarcophagus began to glow with a faint, ethereal light, and a low hum resonated through the air. The team watched in awe as the sarcophagus began to tremble, the lids slowly sliding open. From within the sarcophagus emerged the queen herself, her form ethereal and radiant. She was a vision of grace and power, her eyes filled with a wisdom that belied her years. The queen's presence was both awe-inspiring and unsettling, a reminder of the ancient magic that had brought her back to the world of the living. Neferu and his team stood transfixed, their hearts pounding with a mix of fear and wonder. The queen's gaze fell upon them, and she spoke, her voice echoing through the chamber like a melody from the past. "You have awakened me," she said, her voice filled with a mixture of gratitude and urgency. "I am Nefertari, the Forgotten Queen, and I have been trapped in this realm for millennia, bound by a curse cast by my killers." Neferu stepped forward, his voice steady despite the surreal situation. "How can we help you, Your Majesty?" he asked. The queen's expression softened, and she looked at Neferu with a gaze that seemed to pierce through time. "My death was not a natural one," she revealed. "I was murdered, betrayed by those I trusted. My killers cast a powerful curse upon me, trapping my spirit and erasing my name from history." She gestured to the chamber, her voice filled with sorrow. "This tomb was meant to be my sanctuary, but it became my prison. I need your help to unravel the mystery of my death and break the curse that binds me." The queen recounted the events leading up to her murder, her voice tinged with pain and regret. She spoke of a conspiracy within the royal court, a plot to seize power and eliminate any who stood in their way. The queen had discovered the conspiracy but was betrayed before she could act. Neferu listened intently, his mind racing to piece together the clues. "We will help you," he promised. "We will uncover the truth and bring your killers to justice." The team knew that this was no ordinary investigation. The murder had taken place centuries ago, and the evidence was buried beneath layers of history and magic. But they were determined to succeed, driven by the queen's plea and the sense of justice that burned within them. The queen explained that the curse was not just a prison for her spirit, but a barrier that prevented her from moving on to the afterlife. It was a powerful spell, woven with dark magic and fueled by the hatred of her killers. To break the curse, the team would need to uncover the truth about the queen's murder and confront the dark forces that had orchestrated it. They would need to gather evidence, decipher ancient texts, and navigate the treacherous waters of the royal court. With the queen's guidance, the team set out to unravel the mystery of her death. They knew that the journey would be fraught with danger and challenges, but they were ready to face whatever lay ahead. As they left the chamber, the queen's voice echoed in their minds, a reminder of the task they had undertaken. "Thank you," she said, her voice filled with hope and determination. "Together, we will bring justice to the past and peace to the future." Chapter 5: The Web of Shadows. With the queen's plea echoing in their minds, Neferu and his team returned to the world above, determined to unravel the mystery of her murder. The desert air was cool and crisp, a stark contrast to the oppressive atmosphere of the tomb. But as they made their way back to Thebes, the team couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. The city of Thebes, once a beacon of civilization and power, now seemed cloaked in a veil of secrecy and deceit. The streets were bustling with activity, but there was an undercurrent of tension, a sense that something was amiss. Neferu knew that they needed to tread carefully. The conspiracy that had led to the queen's murder was still at play, its tendrils reaching into the highest echelons of power. They needed to gather information without drawing attention to themselves, a task that would require both stealth and cunning. The team split up, each member using their unique skills to gather information. Neferu, with his knowledge of the royal court and its inner workings, sought out old contacts and allies, hoping to glean insights into the conspiracy. Merit, the linguist, delved into the ancient texts and scrolls of the city's archives, searching for any references to the queen or the events surrounding her death. Her expertise in deciphering forgotten languages proved vital as she uncovered cryptic messages and hidden meanings. Sennefer, the warrior, took to the streets, using his connections with the city's underworld to gather intelligence. He listened to rumors and whispers, piecing together a picture of the political landscape and the forces at play. Khaemwaset, the young scholar, focused on the magical aspects of the case. He visited the temples and sought out the wisdom of the priests, hoping to understand the nature of the curse and the magic that had been used to cast it. As the team gathered information, a complex web of deceit and betrayal began to emerge. They discovered that the conspiracy was far-reaching, involving high-ranking officials, powerful sorcerers, and even members of the royal family. The team learned that the queen had been betrayed by her closest advisor, a man named Seti, who had been secretly working with a group of sorcerers to seize power. The queen had discovered their plot and was planning to expose them, but Seti had acted swiftly, orchestrating her murder and casting the curse to ensure her silence. Armed with this knowledge, the team devised a plan to confront Seti and gather the evidence they needed to break the curse. They knew that Seti was a dangerous man, a master of deception and dark magic, but they were determined to bring him to justice. The confrontation took place in the heart of Thebes, in a hidden chamber beneath the city. Seti was surrounded by his followers, their faces twisted with malice and greed. But Neferu and his team were ready, their resolve unshaken. The battle was fierce and intense, a clash of magic and steel. Sennefer fought with skill and precision, his sword cutting through the air like a scythe. Merit used her knowledge of magic to counter Seti's spells, while Khaemwaset summoned ancient powers to aid their cause. Neferu faced Seti directly, his mind sharp and his spirit unyielding. He challenged Seti, exposing his treachery and demanding the truth. Seti, cornered and desperate, revealed the extent of the conspiracy and the dark magic that had been used to cast the curse. With the evidence in hand and the truth revealed, the team returned to the tomb of the forgotten queen. They presented their findings to her, their hearts filled with a sense of triumph and relief. The queen listened intently, her expression one of gratitude and resolve. With the truth uncovered and the conspirators exposed, the curse began to unravel, its dark magic dissipating like mist in the morning sun. The team watched in awe as the queen's spirit was freed, her form glowing with a radiant light. She thanked them, her voice filled with warmth and sincerity. "You have given me peace," she said, "and you have restored my legacy." With the curse broken and the queen's spirit at rest, Neferu and his team returned to Thebes, their hearts filled with a renewed sense of purpose. They had uncovered the truth and brought justice to the past, but they knew that their journey was far from over. The experience had changed them, deepening their understanding of the world and their place in it. They had faced the darkness and emerged stronger for it, their bond unbreakable and their spirits unbroken. Chapter 6: The Vengeance of Seti. The city of Thebes was slowly returning to its former glory, the shadow of the forgotten queen's curse lifting like a dark cloud from the land. Neferu and his team, hailed as heroes, were celebrated for their bravery and ingenuity. But beneath the surface of this newfound peace, a storm was brewing. Seti, the treacherous advisor and master sorcerer, had not been idle. Though his plans had been thwarted and his power diminished, his thirst for revenge burned fiercely. He had retreated into the shadows, gathering what remained of his followers and plotting his return. Neferu sensed the danger, a lingering unease that gnawed at the edges of his mind. He knew that Seti would not let their victory go unchallenged, that the sorcerer's pride and ambition would drive him to seek retribution. The first sign of trouble came in the form of strange occurrences. Whispers filled the air, voices that spoke of doom and despair. Shadows seemed to move of their own accord, twisting and shifting in the corners of rooms and alleyways. Neferu and his team were on high alert, their instincts telling them that Seti was near. They doubled their efforts to protect the city, working with the local authorities and the priests of the temples to fortify their defenses. But Seti was cunning, his magic subtle and insidious. He struck at the team's weakest points, sowing seeds of doubt and discord among them. Tensions rose, and old rivalries resurfaced, threatening to tear the team apart. Seti made his move in the dead of night, his presence announced by a chilling wind that swept through the city. The sky darkened, and a thick fog rolled in, shrouding Thebes in an eerie, otherworldly glow. Neferu and his team gathered at the heart of the city, their weapons and magic at the ready. They knew that this would be a battle unlike any they had faced before, a clash of light and darkness, good and evil. Seti appeared before them, his form shrouded in darkness, his eyes glowing with a malevolent light. "You thought you could defeat me?" he sneered. "I am eternal, I am the shadow that consumes all." The team stood firm, their resolve unshaken. "We have faced you before," Neferu said, his voice filled with defiance. "And we will defeat you again." The battle erupted in a flurry of magic and steel. Seti's followers, dark sorcerers and twisted creatures, descended upon the city, their numbers vast and their power overwhelming. Neferu and his team fought with all their might, their movements coordinated and precise. Merit used her knowledge of magic to counter Seti's spells, while Sennefer's sword cut through the ranks of their enemies. Khaemwaset summoned ancient powers to aid their cause, and Neferu, with his quick thinking and leadership, directed their efforts. But Seti was a formidable foe, his magic powerful and his cunning unmatched. He unleashed a torrent of spells, the air crackling with energy as he fought with a ferocity that seemed almost inhuman. In the heat of the battle, Neferu realized that their true strength lay not in their individual skills, but in their unity. He called upon his team to stand together, to draw upon the bond they had forged through their shared trials and triumphs. The team rallied, their spirits lifted by Neferu's words. They fought as one, their movements synchronized and their magic amplified by their shared purpose. With a final, desperate effort, the team managed to turn the tide of the battle. They focused their combined power on Seti, unleashing a wave of light and energy that drove him back. Cornered and outmatched, Seti realized that his defeat was inevitable. In a last-ditch attempt to save himself, he tried to escape, but the team was relentless. They pursued him, their determination unwavering, until they finally cornered him in a secluded courtyard. Neferu faced Seti one last time, his voice filled with resolve. "Your reign of terror is over," he said. "You will answer for your crimes." Seti, defeated and broken, was taken into custody, his followers scattered and his power shattered. The city of Thebes was safe once more, the threat of the sorcerer's vengeance averted. As the dust settled, Neferu and his team reflected on the battle and the lessons they had learned. They realized that their journey had not only saved the city but had also strengthened their bond and deepened their understanding of the power of unity and courage. The team knew that their work was far from over, that there were still many mysteries to uncover and many challenges to face. But they faced the future with hope and determination, knowing that they had each other and the enduring spirit of adventure to guide them. Chapter 7: The Shadow Cult of Apep. With Seti defeated and imprisoned, Neferu and his team hoped for a period of peace and respite. However, they soon discovered that the sorcerer's influence extended far beyond his own actions. Seti was not just a man but the figurehead of a clandestine organization known as the Shadow Cult of Apep, a secret society dedicated to the worship of chaos and the destruction of order. The cult had existed for centuries, its roots entwined with the very fabric of Egyptian society. Its members were scattered across the land, hidden in plain sight, influencing the royal family, the priesthood, and the military. They were masters of deception, using their black magic to manipulate and control those in power. The origins of the Shadow Cult of Apep were shrouded in mystery. According to ancient texts, the cult was founded by a group of rogue priests who had been exiled for their dark practices. They worshipped Apep, the serpent god of chaos, and sought to bring about the end of the world as they knew it. Over the centuries, the cult had grown in power and influence, its members infiltrating every level of society. They used their magic to sow discord, incite wars, and manipulate the course of history. Their ultimate goal was to unleash Apep from his prison and plunge the world into eternal darkness. Seti's defeat had only strengthened the cult's resolve. His followers, bound by an unbreakable oath, vowed to avenge their fallen leader and destroy those who had thwarted their plans. They saw Neferu and his team as a threat to their existence, a symbol of the order they sought to destroy. The cult's leaders, a council of powerful sorcerers known as the Disciples of Apep, convened in secret to plot their next move. They summoned dark forces, conjured ancient demons, and wove spells of destruction, all in the name of their dark god. Neferu and his team soon realized the extent of the cult's influence. Strange occurrences plagued the city: murders, disappearances, and acts of sabotage. The royal family, once a symbol of stability, was now divided, its members manipulated by the cult's dark magic. The team discovered that the cult had infiltrated the highest levels of government, with members holding positions of power and influence. They used their positions to orchestrate chaos, weakening the kingdom from within. Determined to stop the cult, Neferu and his team embarked on a perilous journey to the Temple of Apep, the cult's hidden stronghold. The temple was said to be located in a remote desert valley, a place of darkness and despair. The journey was fraught with danger, as the cult's followers harried them at every turn. They faced ambushes, traps, and illusions, all designed to deter them from their goal. But Neferu and his team pressed on, their resolve unshaken. As they neared the temple, the team entered a valley that seemed to pulse with dark energy. The air was thick with the scent of decay, and the ground was littered with the bones of those who had come before them. The valley was a place of trials, a testing ground for those who sought to enter the temple. The team faced a series of challenges, each one more daunting than the last. The first trial was the trial of fear, where they had to confront their deepest fears and insecurities. The second was the trial of betrayal, where they were forced to face the possibility of betrayal by those they trusted. The final trial was the trial of sacrifice, where they had to prove their willingness to sacrifice everything for the greater good. Having passed the trials, the team finally reached the Temple of Apep. The temple was a place of darkness and despair, its walls adorned with carvings that depicted scenes of chaos and destruction. Inside the temple, they uncovered the cult's most closely guarded secrets. They learned of the cult's plans to summon Apep, of the rituals and sacrifices that would be required, and of the dark magic that would be unleashed. The team also discovered the true power of the cult's black magic, a force that could corrupt the minds and souls of those it touched. They realized that the cult's influence extended beyond the physical realm, that it had the power to manipulate reality itself. With the knowledge they had gained, Neferu and his team devised a plan to stop the cult. They knew that they had to act quickly, before the cult could complete their ritual and unleash Apep upon the world. Chapter 8: The Clash of Light and Shadow. The Temple of Apep loomed before them, a monolithic structure carved from obsidian and etched with runes that pulsed with a sinister energy. The air was thick with the scent of sulfur and decay, and the ground trembled with the malevolent power that lay within. Neferu and his team stood at the entrance, their hearts pounding with a mix of fear and determination. They had come to the temple to confront the adepts of Apep, the elite sorcerers who served as the cult's most powerful agents. These sorcerers were masters of dark magic, their powers fueled by the chaos and destruction they worshipped. The team knew that this would be the most perilous battle of their lives, a clash that would determine the fate of not just themselves, but the entire world. As they entered the temple, the team was immediately struck by the oppressive atmosphere. The walls seemed to close in around them, and the air was filled with whispers that spoke of despair and doom. The temple was a labyrinth of corridors and chambers, each one more twisted and corrupted than the last. The adepts of Apep awaited them in the temple's inner sanctum, a vast chamber dominated by a massive statue of Apep, the serpent god of chaos. The sorcerers stood in a circle around the statue, their eyes glowing with an otherworldly light, their voices chanting in a language that grated on the senses. Neferu and his team took their positions, their weapons and magic at the ready. They knew that they had to act quickly and decisively, for the longer they waited, the stronger the sorcerer's magic would become. The battle erupted in a flurry of magic and steel. The adepts of Apep unleashed a torrent of dark spells, their magic crackling through the air like lightning. Neferu and his team responded with a barrage of their own, their spells and weapons cutting through the darkness. Merit, the team's linguist and magic expert, countered the sorcerer's spells with incantations of her own, her voice rising above the din. Sennefer, the warrior, charged into the fray, his sword slicing through the ranks of the adepts with deadly precision. Khaemwaset, the young scholar, summoned ancient powers to aid their cause, calling upon the gods to bless their weapons and shield them from harm. Neferu, with his quick thinking and leadership, directed their efforts, coordinating their attacks and ensuring that they worked as a cohesive unit. The adepts of Apep were formidable foes, their magic fueled by the power of chaos itself. They conjured dark creatures from the shadows, their forms twisted and grotesque, their eyes glowing with malice. The creatures attacked with ferocity, forcing the team to fight on multiple fronts. The sorcerers also used their magic to manipulate the environment, causing the ground to shift and the walls to close in. The team had to constantly adapt, their movements fluid and precise, as they navigated the ever-changing battlefield. Despite the overwhelming odds, Neferu and his team refused to yield. They fought with courage and determination, their spirits unbroken by the chaos around them. As the battle raged on, they began to notice a pattern in the sorcerers' attacks, a weakness in their defenses. Merit realized that the sorcerer's magic was not as invincible as it seemed. Their power comes from their unity, she shouted over the noise. If we can break their circle, we can weaken their magic. With this knowledge, the team adjusted their strategy. They focused their attacks on the sorcerer's circle, using their combined strength to disrupt the flow of magic. Sennefer and Khaemwaset engaged the sorcerers directly, while Merit and Neferu worked to break the circle from a distance. With a final, desperate effort, the team managed to break the sorcerer's circle, shattering their unity and weakening their magic. The adepts of Apep faltered, their spells faltering and their creatures dissipating into smoke. Neferu seized the opportunity, rallying his team for a final push. They charged forward, their weapons and magic cutting through the remaining sorcerers with devastating effect. The temple was filled with the sound of battle and the cries of the defeated. In the end, the team emerged victorious, the adepts of Apep defeated and their power broken. The temple was silent once more, the air filled with a profound sense of peace. As the dust settled, Neferu and his team took a moment to catch their breath and assess the situation. The temple was in ruins, the statue of Apep shattered and the sorcerers' bodies scattered across the floor. The team knew that their victory was not just a personal triumph, but a victory for the world. They had stopped the adepts of Apep from unleashing chaos upon the land, and in doing so, they had saved countless lives. The battle with the adepts of Apep became a legend, a tale of courage and unity that inspired people across the land. Neferu and his team were hailed as heroes, their story told and retold in the annals of history. But the team knew that their journey was far from over. There were still many mysteries to uncover, many challenges to face, and many adventures to be had. But they faced the future with hope and determination, knowing that they had each other and the enduring spirit of adventure to guide them.
Every story has an ending, but some mysteries live on. If you enjoyed this tale, don't let it fade into the shadows. Smash that like button and subscribe for more thrilling stories that will transport you beyond the veil of the ordinary. Subscribe to our channel and your name will appear at the beginning of our next video, where we will personally thank you for your subscribing. Tap the bell icon so you never miss a journey into the unknown. Share your thoughts in the comments. What twists did you see coming? And what secrets do you think still remain? Until next time, stay curious, stay brave, and let the next story begin.